I'm in the extremely fortunate position of being contacted sometimes by small brands to ask me if I want to review their new watch. To be perfectly honest, a lot of them are just straight out of a catalogue with some minor modifications, and that's always a no for me. Nothing against that business model at all, but there are so many micro brands out there that slave over their designs for ages and sink a lot of their hard-earned money into their designs. And they are the ones I would happily slave over myself for a few days of filming. When Warwick sent me an email recently, I have to admit it was love at first sight. Not him particularly, although I'm sure he's a nice guy, but definitely his watches. The logo speaks to me with its minimalistic sun setting, which is a reference point on many Pilot's instruments, ensuring you maintain your altitude. And the Atmoss name works so well considering this is a Pilot's brand and watch. According to Warwick, the SR-01 spent 4 years in development guided by a simple principle. Add what could go into a Pilot's watch, then remove everything unnecessary with a focus on usability, quality of materials, shape and fit. The result is a simple 3-hand mechanical Pilot's watch with a functioning slide rule. It's not my first watch with a slide rule, and my opinion is this. They have a function clearly, and perhaps there is a small number of you out there that would actually use it. But I'm thinking if you're anything like me, you will never use it. But that's okay, since the intricate number patterns and markers is a visual treat. If you've ever glanced at Oleg & Weiss watches, then you know exactly what I'm talking about, and check out my website review if you haven't. There are 3 color options available here: black, white and grey, 2 of which I have on loan here today. These watches will be released on a Kickstarter campaign on the 1st of May, and I'll link that up in the description. The early bird price will be an extremely attractive $495 Australian dollars, which is about $350 USD currently. So should you consider backing this on Kickstarter on the 1st of May? Well, let me help you decide. A big part of a buying decision is sizes, and this has a good set of them. The diameter is 41mm, lug to lug is around 49mm, lug width is 20mm, and thickness I measure at a very manageable 11.5mm, including the crystal. It's also water resistant to 10 ATM or 100 meters, and on the rubber strap, the weight is 98 grams. So let's get stuck into this dial. As mentioned, it is a minimalistic approach, and there's plenty of what designers describe as white space. I've already touched on the lovely logo, and on this prototype it's crisp and well printed with minimal bleed. I think the size is good too. It's so important with new upcoming brands to have an attractive logo and not be too heavy-handed in its application. At just about the 6th position, we have the automatic, model number and water resistance. The short indices are all applied, and on this white one, the top part is painted black around the loom, which means they stick out really well on this dial. They are quite short and thin, which leaves less room for loom, but I'll come back to this in the loom section. What is highly impressive is that every single one of them are centered around the minute track on dial. It's just a 12 which is ever so slightly off, but that's totally okay on a prototype, and is not visible at all with the naked eye. On the black one, each indice is spot on. Finally on the dial, it's actually a light silver and not white, which tones it down slightly in darker environments. The blue basic fence post hands are extremely legible against this background, and the seconds hand have a white and red tip, which I believe relates to flying instruments once again. On the Rehort and bezel, we'll find said slide rule. These were important before the digital age, and you can calculate all kinds of things such as speed and distance, fuel consumption, and rate of climb and descent. I will not go into that here since I'm mainly a photographer and video editor, and my own mathematical prowess extends to 5th grade basic multiplication only. And I certainly won't go and ask my engineer father-in-law, since that will be an hour of my life lost forever. So that said, I still think these slide rules are quite attractive in their implementation, and they are certainly well made here, engraved and painted in both black and red. This bezel is of the friction kind, so it moves freely in both directions, which means you will never have any alignment issues at all. Moving on to the case, which is 316L steel with brushed surface, the downward angled lugs will sit well on your wrist, and obviously the all brushed should mean less scratches. The crown is signed with the logo, and my feedback to Warwick immediately was that it's too small. It sticks out about 2.8mm and is 5.4mm in diameter. So it's not tiny at all, but a little larger and deeper would definitely work better for me. Luckily, he has since confirmed that the final crown will be larger at around 6mm, which should be perfect. Flipping the watch over and you'll get a very large open case back, showing off the Miyota 9039, which is a reliable and good movement. You will both feel and hear this one on the wrist sometimes, and that's okay with me. The movement has been customized with a black rotor that's again signed with a logo, so a nice little detail. It is not the most exciting movement to look at, but open case backs is always fun. And even if this is not your first automatic, it might be someone else's, and they will be super excited to see what powers their new watch. The blue rubber strap supplied is a complementary color to the white watch, and of a good quality, ribbed on the inside for your wrist's pleasure. But where it gets really interesting is the engineer style bracelet. This is an all individual links design, which stays 20mm all the way down to the push release clasp that comes in at 22.4mm width. The final buckle will have 4 micro adjusts. This is a pin and collar bracelet, but Warwick confirmed that the bracelet on the production version will taper down to 18mm at the clasp, and it will also have screw pins rather than push pins. It is nice looking and all, but I would put this watch on leather or canvas any day, being an outright pilot watch. The lugs are not drilled, and it would be nice if that final version of all these options had quick release, but honestly, it's not too hard to change with a basic tool, so don't let that stop you at all. So the loom is slightly unevenly applied on the prototype and doesn't exactly take one's breath away when the lights go out. But BGW9 does last a long time, and you will be able to tell the time should you wake up mid-morning. Warwick has also confirmed that the final version will have better loom. The conclusion of my review is this. The Atmoss SR-01 is a well-made and attractive watch at a fantastic price point. It's not just another samey Kickstarter campaign, this deserves to be a big success. And I can really see Warwick and his brand apply his delicate design approach to all kinds of watches in future. I truly hope we'll get to see not just this campaign succeed, but see many more from him in the future. Based on the prototypes alone, I would not hesitate recommending you to back this and deal with the wait. It should be worth it. Thank you for being here, and I'll see you next time.